Hello, welcome to Set Up for Sanity in the Silly Season. A series of videos for mothers to experience sanity and peace and flow and ease and
it is
all
actually
that's important to you.
It is actually possible. We get that it's rush season. We get that it's the busiest, crazy time of the year for primary caregivers and for homemakers and for people who are involved in all that, creating the family experience for Christmas. It's a kind of a nutty time. And it's not even just Christmas. There's New Year's, there's the school holidays, there's solstice, there's all sorts of things happening at the moment that really fill up our calendars hugely. And we have a lot of invitations coming in for all different things. And it's really interesting how quite often we say yes to something that we really don't want to know. Like even as you're saying yes, you're like, I don't really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is actually okay to say no. Shockingly, I know. And a lot of us have no idea even how to say no anymore to something like that, especially if it's someone that we know or we're going to see again or that we care about or that we're in relationship with in some way in the community. There is all these sorts of internal taboos and responsibilities and things that it is okay and isn't okay to do. And, oh, well, they came to something I asked them to, and now I really feel like I have to say yes. Or, oh, they were so helpful this year, and I feel like now I have to say yes. All these different things.
And even if there's not a, tit for tat, I don't know if many people in the world say that, but even if it's not a I have to do it because they did something, it can be as base as, if someone asked me to do something or someone asked me to go somewhere, I'm meant to say yes. Like no matter what, I'm just meant to. It's bad to say no to someone.
What will they think? Will they think, will that mean that I don't like them then? And, all the subtext that goes with that.
And it's such a lie. It's not true, and it doesn't serve us to make no such a bad word and to make no be something that's shameful, that has you feel guilty, that supposedly disconnects you from other people. So the biggest invitation in this particular video is to help you really shift that belief, shift that perspective, and claim your no as a really positive thing.
The energy that you are bringing to the situation is the most important thing. So if you're saying yes and your energy is a really firm no, that does not serve the situation. You will just drag your feet through the entire event. Everyone around you will kind of feel it. Yeah. And that is not the energy that you really want to bring. So you're not serving anyone by saying yes when you actually really are saying no inside to something.
Yeah, and even though on the surface the people you're saying no to may be a little bit uncomfortable, and you may be a little bit uncomfortable because socially we're not used to.
And we've forgotten we've forgotten how to say no.
Yeah.
In fact, half of us were never taught it was okay to say no, so we weren't taught how to say no. We're going to give you some ideas for that in a moment.
And yeah, so even though on the surface there might be discomfort at first, if you really checked into anyone who was really worth connecting with for you and said, would you prefer me to be really honest and only do things with you that I actually want to do, or would you like me to do this thing out of obligation and do it just because you asked me, even though secretly underneath I'm hating it? They would want you to be honest. They'd want you to be in integrity with your truth, and they'd want you to honor your no.
And here's the other thing about saying yes to a heap of no's that you really don't want to be doing. You are going to be operating outside of your truth and your comfort zone and your own personal boundaries, because you've trampled all over your personal boundaries. Not even them. You can't even blame it on other people, because it's you who totally dishonored yourself and the needs of, and maybe it's not even just you, dishonored the needs of your family, what was really real and going on for you guys, all of that. if you have all those no's in there where you've pushed yourself outside of what's really true for you and what's really in your field of integrity, like your personal boundaries around a situation, and you've done that a lot, or you're a long way outside of it, you are going to find it extremely difficult to not lose your cool, not be in a grumpy, shitty place where you feel overextended all the time, you feel frustrated, you feel rushed, feel like there's too much going on, and you're resentful and pissed off at pretty much all the people around you.
It's a surefire way to actually experience the holiday season with all those things that you really don't want to be experiencing it with the stress, with the disconnection, with the yelling, the overwhelm, all those, like if you're forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do and pushing yourself outside of your boundaries, it won't go down well. It just won't.
It won't. On so many levels, it won't go down well. So we really want you to take this on today and hear this, that it is okay to say no. Honestly, it really is.
And we actually invite you to say that out loud and breathe it into every cell of your body. It is okay for me to say no.
Yeah.
And one level on from that is, it's great for me to say no. Me saying no is it actually creates connection. Me saying no is a sign of honesty and integrity.
You can even, so I even said no to my kids around some stuff this season. In a way, we're going to teach you how to say no in a second, but in a way so that it honors my needs and it honors their needs. Because when I spoke about why I wanted to say no and why they wanted to say yes, it was clear what the pieces were where I could honor my no and we could honor their yes at the same time in a new way. Okay, and I'll give you an example of that in a second. But so let's talk about how you actually can say no using some basic conscious communication skills that are natural, that flow out of you, that don't sound scripted, and how you can say no in a way that feels true and real for you and graceful, because we're so freaking uncomfortable to say no. Hey, Joe. No matter how, we're so uncomfortable around the saying no to the point that we just don't say it because we don't know how to say it. So let's fix that. So there's lots of ways that you can say no, but we're going to give you 4 techniques that you can play with. And you can just play with one of them if you want, or you can kind of mix and match and see what happens. So the first one to take on board is when you are saying no to something, what are you saying yes to instead? Whenever you say no to something, it's because you're saying yes to something else. Yes to rest, yes to peace, yes to another event, yes to something.
And yes to some really core values and needs underneath that any person who you're communicating that to could really relate to and could understand and have empathy for.
Right. So what are you saying yes to? And what you're saying yes to is twofold. It's important for you to understand and realize what you're saying yes to, because it reorientates the way you feel about saying no, and the words will naturally flow differently out of you if you're clear on what you're saying yes to instead. It's also really easy, it's also helpful to say that to the other person, what else is going on for you. So, no, I can't do that, or no, we're not going to be able to come to that because we really need this, or we are doing this, or whatever. What are you saying yes to instead? We really need some space and downtime, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And the next thing is they all go hand in hand, is to be honest about your hesitation with saying no.
So uncomfortable that is, yeah.
Share your fear. I find it really hard to say no, or a huge part of me wanted to say yes, and I've actually been sitting with this like all day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But in order to be really honest with you and to like be in integrity with myself and to honor you as much as me, I need to say no. Like, you can share the background, you can share the fear, you can be authentic.
You can say, this is really hard for me to say because I love you so much and I'm worried you're going to be offended, but we can't come to this. We are so exhausted and we need downtime. Ta-da!
Simple.
So, number 3, offer an alternative. If this feels so true and yes for you. If this feels really yes for you to offer something different, like, I'm really sorry, we can't do that, but how would you feel about doing this in January or whatever it is, okay? If that feels like truth to you, offer an alternative, okay? It's also a good one with kids, by the way, to offer an alternative. And the fourth one?
The fourth one is to also, like, if it feels like you're focusing a bit too much on the no, and it feels like it could actually create a bit of disconnection between you and the other person.
It's going to become the issue.
Explore genuinely. It's not like trying to make things up, but look at where you can really appreciate their request or appreciate them or appreciate the invitation. Yeah, and share that as well. Share your gratitude. Share your appreciation.
Thank you so much for thinking of us with this. It means a lot to be included. Yeah? Okay, so there's some tips to play with on how you can say no gracefully. Claim your no, though, first internally. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you a selfish person. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you don't love them. The way that you love people and show them that you love them is not just, I'm going to say yes to everything they ever ask me. That's not.
And it actually deepens relationships. It deepens connection. It deepens the authentic connection between you, and it makes the energy richer and more real. And it brings that joy, that aliveness, that it brings your values into the holiday season, into the relationships.
Yeah, especially if you take one or all 4 of those ideas and weave them in, because they're designed to create greater connection in the way that you're communicating.
So one more time, it's okay to say no. Say that again.
Okay, comment. I've spent years pleasing and saying yes throughout the year, but looking at Christmas, keeping the peace, but making it hard for us. Just the last couple of years, I've mixed it up and changed things to suit. They just needed to accept this and work with it. So much more ease with this now.
Yay! Claiming your no, Chobo Tira. I celebrate that.
Yeah, and claiming it to create that ease. And there's practice involved. There is a bit of practice involved. So this year, we were invited to a family Christmas Day thing that was a lot of like really extended family, like my sister-in-law's family, and like a big sort of gathering, and quite formal. And that side of our family is really different to our family. And so those events, when we do them, have this sense of having to show up a certain way. And it's not uncomfortable or bad, but it's like expectations that we be a certain way and that it's more formal and that certain things happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my kids really wanted to spend time with their cousins, and they really wanted a family fancy Christmas food. They want the full thing. So, but I wanted to say no, and my husband wanted to say no to the Christmas Day. It wasn't feeling like that's what Christmas Day, what we wanted Christmas Day itself to look like. And so we said no to the Christmas Day and no to the kids on that. However, we came up with something that feels really good to us. So on Boxing Day, we will spend time with the cousins and their the younger crew and everyone that wants to hang together. We will do all the fancy Christmas feasts, but we'll do it in a really low-key pool party way at my dad's house. So it was like we had to mix and match. We had to find what everyone really wanted. But I said no to that, and I could have so easily said yes to the Christmas Day obligation. I could have. It would have been so much, like in my head, there was part of me going, it'll be easy to say no to this, to say yes to this and just suck it up and do it and drive 2 hours Christmas morning and get our butts down there and be all dressed up in our formal gear. That's not what we wanted to do. So we're still spending time with the family we love, and we're still doing the fancy food and all of that, but we're doing it in an environment of pool party and relaxed chilling, which is more in line with what we want the holiday season to be and how we want to feel. There's my story. So you can say no to family, you can say no to your children, you can say no to people that you love and friends, like, you know, this one. I don't think I've said no to you this holiday season yet. I might have. Say no all the time. I mean, you've got to say no. You've got to learn to say no. Okay.
Your relationships need you to say no.
They do. They do. That you just scatter them with resentment and crappiness and blah if you don't say no when you really need to say no. So that's the end of this live. If you want to comment, you're going to go into the draw to win the Magic Mama's Manifesting System. I have trouble saying that. We put way too many M's in that. So you can look in the comments and see how to do that in the description for the video. And if you're interested in really claiming more of yourself and your boundaries, on really stepping into the wholeness of you in an empowered way as a mother and a woman, and you're feeling like, yeah, wow, I really resonated with some of this. This is stuff I should really step into a little more. Then Kaya and I have opened up our calendars over the next month or so for some free conversations and sessions with us where we will personally talk to you and coach you personally on what's context specific for you, on that, creating that empowerment and claiming your wholeness and really stepping into what it is you really want rather than what is the responsibilities and obligations that I'm just chugging along with. So you can find the link for that in the description too if that's resonating, and we would love to connect with you.
Yes, we would.
Okay, so much love
Talk
to you.
To you soon.
Mwah.